Right then. Okay, so we've got everybody here, I think. Have we had any apologies about, Ben, that you need to inform us of? What? Can we start recording this, Ben?
Yeah, Charlie's recording it, and
got it, yeah.
Starting now as well. So good on that.
Okay.
In terms of apologies, we had a rejection from Pip, but Karen says that's fine. And
we had a rejection from Pip. That's not very nice, is it? It's a bit negative. So, but I get the point. So, okay. All right. Well, I've got an agenda. We've got some stuff to go for, which is good. So, but first, everybody. So, welcome everybody. Good morning. I'd like to introduce you to Charlie Wainwright, who is over there in my screen. I don't know where he is on your screen. Charlie is down there with you, is he, Sean? Right? So Charlie's joined us as the Future of Construction lead, and I'll just let Charlie introduce himself and just tell him a little bit about his background, and then if you all want to very sort of quickly just who you are, your organisation, and I think Charlie can come to speed the rest of it. So I'll just let Charlie do that for a couple of minutes.
Cheers, Gerard. Morning all. Yeah, as Gerard said, I've joined as the lead for the Future of Construction. So I've unfortunately missed most of your sessions regarding skills and training, so I'm looking to sort of catch up on that. My background is in engineering and environmental consultancy. So I've worked for Ramboll and WSP over the past 10 years, generally in geo-environmental engineering, foundation design, and contaminated land and that sort of stuff. And as we're on the education route, yes, I went to uni and I did undergrad in biology and then on to do a master's at Leeds. So that's me pretty much.
So does everybody just want to just say your name and your organisation? And Charlie's got a little bit of an idea of who everybody is, but that if you want to do that, that'll be fine. Okay. I'll start with Jan.
Okay, morning everybody. Jan Grant from Protocol Awarding Body. Just developed the 5 pilot qualifications.
It's hard to know who's the next. I'm Georgina Manson from Baker Hicks. I run the architectural team from the London office, and I've been on this from the start as well, involved.
Yeah, so I think you're right, Georgina. So Karen, do you want to go next? I'll do it in my order.
Yeah, hi Charlie. Karen Weiger from ISG, and I'm Education Engagement Manager at ISG, so involved with schools and colleges trying to inspire young learners to join the industry and come into the industry, and also the sort of social value and working with clients and customers to position when we're going for an opportunity in the community.
Okay, thank you. Rachel?
Hi, I'm Rachel Sutcliffe. I'm from Morrison Spottiswoode and I'm a HR business partner.
Okay, Pam?
Hi Charlie, Pam Lewis, Director of Qualifications with Protocol Awarding Body.
Neeti?
Hi Charlie, I'm the Learning and Development Manager at Skanska. I did notice you have a quite different way of spelling your name with a Y.
Yeah, no, it's thanks to my parents for that. So that haunts me throughout my whole life, despite them having odd spelling names as well. So I wanted to just pass on the turmoil of it.
That's okay. Well, it sets you apart, Charlie, doesn't it? That's the key. So that's what it needs to.
It does, yeah. No. Hopefully that's not the only thing, but.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it won't be. Steph.
Hi, morning, Charlie. I'm the Business Improvement Director for Morgan Sindall Construction. Nice to meet you.
Sean?
Hi, Charlie. I'm the Director of Faithful and Gold. Lead on the Pagabo framework. Background as a chartered building surveyor. I also have a master's, but it's learning through experience is far more beneficial.
What's your master's in, Sean?
Property asset management.
No. I thought it was going to be something interesting, like car mechanic, doesn't it?
Something worthwhile, yeah.
Keith.
Morning, Charlie. I'm Keith Hayes. I'm Strategic Framework Director for Graham. I don't have a degree. I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Building, and I came up through the experience route and the old professional exams route. So hence perhaps some of my slant on training.
Well, I'm with you on that, Keith. I'm the same as you, albeit not construction. Diana?
Morning, Charlie. Diana Hawkins, Big Everard. I'm a business development manager, work within the M&E team.
Steve?
Hi, I'm Steve Waggett. I'm contracts manager for Sorrowbrook McAlpine in Yorkshire, and also an external examiner for Northumbria University's construction management degrees.
And Michael?
Hi, Michael Grace from Turner and Townsend. Nice to meet you.
Okay, so that's great. So okay, so welcome aboard, Charlie. I mean, you've been with us a few weeks now. You're learning quite quickly, aren't you? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, good lad. So, okay, so so the first thing on the agenda really was just to maybe get an update from Jan and Pam on the success we've had with the qualifications. So I don't know who wants to just tell us where we are with those. We had all the feedback.
Success in what way?
Yeah.
Well, we've now got them sort of signed off. Where are we? Yeah. When I say to So do you want to tell us where they are now with Ofqual, etc., and where we are up to?
Okay. Do you want to give feedback on that one?
They're live qualifications, operationally live from Monday last, which means published on Ofqual's Register of Qualifications as live qualifications, and they're also published on our website as live qualifications, available for approved Proqual centres to avail of them and take them on board to deliver them.
So let's just understand what that means is they are real things now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody can pick them up. Any organisation can pick them up and provide training, an ITP, should I say?
No, and they would have to become a Proqual centre.
No. Yeah, sorry. Any ITP can do it, but they have to become a Proqual centre to do it. Yeah, I'm aware of that. But effectively, they are live. They are real things.
They are.
And to do it, which is. So that's I think that's a great achievement to everybody involved in this group. We've in a short sort of period of time. Now, thank you, Diana. She's giving us a clap there. Look at that from Diana. In a short period of time, we've managed to come up with some qualifications, find some gaps, and get them approved by the government body, Ofqual, which I've had a tough time this year on A level. So that's an achievement. So that's absolutely fantastic. So thank you for that.
In terms of they've been submitted, as we always said, Gerard, that Pam submitted them to Ofqual. They are on the hub. That's the portal that lists all Ofqual qualifications, and they're there, but they haven't had any funding attached to them as yet. But it does take a few weeks before that gets populated. So it's a bit like watch this space and let's see what powers that be attach funding rates to them.
Okay, so now will you be proactive on that then, Jan, and inform us so we can tell everybody in the group on that? Or
we can keep an eye on the hub, but basically the hub is there for anybody can go onto the hub. Search for the search for us as the awarding body, search for the qualifications by name on the hub, and then you can see the funding which funding bodies have populated or attached funding to them.
Okay.
But we can keep an eye on the hub, and I will let you know so that you can cascade it to everybody.
Yeah, yes, please. And maybe if you send a note out about how you access the hub and where we go and the web address and whatever. If you could do that via Charlie to everybody. I think Neeti was going to ask the same question there, Neeti. Is that right? Yeah. I just think that would be useful because then we could all have a look at it and avail ourselves of that as well.
Yes.
Okay.
No problem. Yep.
Right. So that's good. So the next stage then is to start to think about doing some training. So I can obviously update everybody that I've been through a process, not me personally, but Pagabo has set up a training centre in order to deliver these qualifications. So we've actually invested some money in that process. We've done it with Jan's team, and we have a brand which we're calling TEQU, so TEQU, Technical Qualifications. It's very sophisticated, as you can tell, and we're developing that into we're developing it into a brand so we can do more of this sort of stuff. And we have become, in fact, I got the notification this week actually, Jan, that we've been approved as an official training centre.
Oh, great. What, by the Learner Record Service?
Well, by you, and then by and also by the Learner Record Service. So I now need to do a little bit more work, which I'm going to do this afternoon. And I've had to get an ICO registration number. Now, you know, I didn't really appreciate the process you had to go through, but anyway, we are where
we don't
are
just
now.
take anyone, Gerard.
Well, it would appear that I've had to send you my shoe size and, you know, and my all the copies of my, you know, needlework qualifications and everything. But yeah, that's all. So I think we're going through that. So I've got a bit more work to do on that today. But I think in practical terms, we're now a training centre, so we can offer these qualifications. Yeah. So that's good. The next stage for us is some work I'm doing with Proqual, and I'm working with two of the team at Proqual, Gary and Helen, and we're developing an assessment workbook, which we're going to use to align these qualifications so we can do them. And also, they are going to do what's called the, and tell me if I'm giving you the right terminology, one of them is going to be the assessor and one of them is going to be the IQA. So somebody's going to assess the work for the 18 people we put through it, and then the IQA will officially ensure that we've done the right things to make sure the certifications are available to those individuals. So that's in place. Neeti?
Quick question, Gerard. Would you be able to share how that, what that looks like in terms of what are we assessing and what kind of criteria and everything? Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, so at the back end of my notes, Neeti, there's a couple of things outstanding from last time that I wanted to wait until we got a little bit further down, which is there's some press and PR, which I want to sort of talk to you all about. There's a roadmap that Ben and I are going to work on. And there's a communication that Mike Grace asked me to do, which is on what will it look like after we've got the 18. So I'm going to link all of that together, and I'll probably do a piece of work on what the assessment workbooks will look like. Because to be fair, I want to get them branded up a bit with future construction on, and, you know, get our names in there and everybody's involved. So we've got some sort of, you know, so it looks quite nice. So the answer is yes, I'm going to do that.
Just a little bit of a quick update on that. We've practically got all 5 assessment books completed. They've just been finalised. They've also put a skills scan together. So I think they're at the point where they're waiting now for details of the 18 to come through so that they can then do the skills scan with them to make sure they're on the right qualifications.
So that was my next point on the agenda. So what I was going to say was we now need to get the 18 candidates. Now, as Michael will know, he's already sent me 6. So as Michael already knows that, he's already done that. So we've got 6 which have been put forward from TNT. So really now I just want to get more. And I did say if we end up with a few more, then I'm happy to do that. There is a cost, but I've said to you that Pagabo will pay that cost initially because I want to do that, and that's something I'm doing with Jan. So really, we just need to get other people that we said we would get into that in those different levels and those different disciplines in that spreadsheet we sent out. So really, I'm just looking for everybody else now to provide them to us, and then we can get them on there. Because I've agreed with Helen and Gary, who work for Jan, how we're going to do it. Because we're not using a learning platform, because we're going to build something into TechU. We're going to do it a little bit mandrolically, but that's fine because it'll all be exactly as in fact, it'll be like most people do it. It just happens that TechU next year will be doing it in a more digital first approach. That's what we want to try and do. So I just need to have people providing me with 2, 3, 4 people, if you can, please, from your organisation, because we want a good cross section. But you know, to be fair to Mike at TNT. He sent me quite quickly afterwards the 6 individuals. So I've got them in the list already, Michael. Okay. If you're there.
Are you saying you want them at a certain level?
Yeah. Well, I'll.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. What did you say, Michael?
Sorry. Yeah. No, I'm absolutely. Yeah. We sent it through. So thanks.
Yeah. So I've got that. So let me just. If Ben, do you want to bring up the spreadsheet, or can you know the spreadsheet, Ben? I'm talking about.
Remind me, Gerard.
It's the one with which we sent out for the survey. We put the we put the 18 people on it, or the disciplines. I'll just find my. It might look like I'm looking weirdly at my computer, but I'm just trying to find my email. So we've got. So if I give you an example of what Michael at TNT has done, that'll help you, Georgina. If you just bear with me.
I think at one point we spoke about getting like a template from you guys just to know what to send to our HR so they know what they're looking for. Did we get that?
No, you haven't had that yet.
Fine.
You haven't had that from the communication. So what TNT have done is they've given me a couple of people at professional level, a couple of people at senior level, and an assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So we sort of said we were trying to get. We weren't too fussed about particular disciplines because clearly, if you're an architect, you'll provide us with architectural people. If you're a contractor, you'll provide us with different contractors. So what we're looking for is sort of junior, medium, and sort of higher. I don't think we're looking at director level. So we're just looking at for that really, so we can get a mixed group. And once we've got that, then we'll do that sort of piece of PR. To be fair, Diana. Okay. So I'd like. Oh, sorry.
Gerard, sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. Where's the curriculum then, so we can see what these individuals are going to be undertaking?
You've had a copy of the courses, the actual. So we've done the qualifications. What we haven't completed yet, Jan referred to it, is the assessment workbook, which will be the work that we take people through. So we're almost finished them, and I'm going to get those branded up.
Okay.
So the assessment workbook, and I might use the wrong terminology here, Jan, just tell me if I am, but the qualifications are what you have to achieve. The assessment workbook is the way we think we will help people achieve that. Is that right?
I want to see the specifications.
Yeah,
yeah, that'd be useful, Jan.
Yeah.
They're on our website.
They're on our website. You can.
Can you send the link to us, please, Pam, so people have got a link? Just be easier, I suppose, than just trawling through your web. Not I'm saying you have to trawl through your website, but
you can put it in the chat. You can put it in the chat now, the link, and then people can.
Yeah, Pam, are you familiar with how to do that, Pam?
I'm just wondering where they are on my laptop. Sorry, I'll find them.
Yeah.
And do
I mean, to be fair, Charlie will do a wrap-up email at the end, need to with everything on. So
that'd be really useful, Gerard. Thank you.
Yeah.
They're not, if I just could say they're not that different from the draft versions that you've all had, but one or two people fed back with small amendments, if you like, which have incorporated a lot of that.
Yeah.
So they are pretty much the same, but we'll still get the link, the specs for it.
But Ben's ahead of you, Pam. He's already put it in the chat.
I've dropped a link in for everyone.
You see, because he's one of these future employees we're talking about.
Oh, right. Excellent. Lead by example.
Yeah, he's got a life of careers rather than a.
So, Gerard.
Yep.
So in terms of us obviously putting forward our nominations, definitely we'll do that. So that each then person within the group and the framework then understands the ethos and the way of working. Then what, in terms of next steps, how do you then want to do that? Who do you think then will be accessing that training? I know you're saying you're doing the route map, but what's your vision for who will be using these as skills to get on board? Every new person which gets awarded under the framework will then look at these as qualifications, as ethos.
I think that's a longer, right. In terms of the longer term ambition, I don't know. We talked about it last time, and Mike at TNT asked me that question. And what I said I would do, and I've put some thought into it, but I haven't finalised it yet, is what we can do for our framework and also the wider community next year. So we want to put people through these qualifications to make sure they tick the boxes. So this is a beta trial, an exemplar, or whatever you want to call it. It will also show us whether the content is right or wrong. So it will prove that. What I then want to try and do is to say, right then, once we've done this is how I think we can all access these qualifications generally. And I want to try and look at a costed model. And I need to find out where we are with the funding to do that, Karen, because you know, if we can make it work really well with the funding, there's a fair chance we can amplify it. And Mike, to be fair to him last time, said, look, you know, he's going to be asked by his guys, look, if we do this, you know, longer term, what is the likely investment they will need to make going forward? So I want to wait until the funding's done in order to do that. But in terms of just a sidestep, really, is when we've got the 18 available and we've got all of those people, and we'll then, I want to do a presentation which Ben and I are working on, and we'll get all of those 18 people. We might do like a seminar, an online seminar, in using the Zoom and what have you. We can all be there, but we can do a seminar where we actually present to them what it is they'll be doing, you know, some context, the journey and everything, and do it on that basis. So there's two things. Let's get a couple of things. Let's get the team together. Let's get all of those people sorted. Let's work on that marketing material and the messaging that Diana's talked to and the presentation. And then once we know where we are, the funding, I want to put a proposal to us as a group as to how we as a sector could try and amplify it next year. Does that answer your point? So that's my thought process in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is everybody? I think that's what we all agreed last. Everybody happy with that? Okay. So in terms of supplying the 18, obviously we've got them from Michael. Can you forward them to Charlie now? Because I want Charlie and I are working very closely on this. So Charlie's email afterwards, later on today, we'll give you his email contact. It's pretty obvious. Charlie.wainwright@Pagabo. So pretty obvious. Okay. So if we're all happy with that, I'd like to talk about the next couple of things if we can, which is what's everybody's thoughts on press and PR? Open question there. You can put your hands up or you can speak, whatever you want to do.
What, whether we want to be involved in it or?
No. Well. Okay. So we've created 5 qualifications. We're going to test them in the market. This is all about the future of the sector, the future workplace, the future people. We're trying to create a life of careers, not a career for life. We're trying to do some support stuff. There's a lot of rubbish going on in the sector, you know, in terms of employment. So we want to do something positive. What do we want to say into the marketplace? Because we have a PR company, and I want to do some PR, but I want to make sure we're happy as a group that we're doing PR. I'm happy to tell everybody what we're doing. We'll get Ben to do a piece of work with our PR company, include everybody, get some quotes from everybody, and then once we do that, my view is we then amplify it on everybody's social channels. Because all the people I'm looking at here have got fantastic social channels. I know what you all do, so we can amplify that message out. So, you know, we can reach a lot of people, but between us, we can reach hundreds of thousands of people. So it's a case of, you know, are we ready for that now, guys? Do we want to wait a little bit longer? What do we feel?
Maybe.
Yeah, I know that I'd have to understand the journey of the individual qualifications that have got approved, fantastic, and then how and who goes and actually gets further training. So how do we recruit those persons to get the training? We'll do that internally to start with in our own group, but then how do we further go out and market to other people wider than this group to get them involved in achieving the qualifications? And then what's the vision in terms of how it fits within the wider education market? Because I guess there's so many different qualifications at the moment which are either completing their funding or looking at being superseded with lots of other new qualifications that come in. So we just need to understand how they sit within that existing roadmap, I think, because otherwise you've got a massive uphill struggle to be able to market that, to say what the niche of these qualifications are over others.
Okay, so I'll just summarise that and then take some more points. So what you're saying is we should actually do a little bit of a press PR plan first about what it is we're doing, understanding the journey, who do we need to inform, what do we need to tell them, where do these sit alongside our competitors, for want of a better word. Okay, yeah, okay, I get that.
And and what we get as outcomes from the end of, obviously, the end of these qualifications, what do they get? So is this a person within a school or college, say a college, or that's just recently left, that's gone into another company to do these qualifications? Or are we saying that we'll market it amongst the framework going forward to say that all of the people within the framework, including the supply chain, would look to undertake these. So it depends on whether it's an internal centric qualification or external, I believe.
Yeah, okay. My gut feel is it's everybody, Karen. I don't think it needs to be Pagabo centric. It would be I don't think it isn't. We're not trying to be exclusive. We're trying to be inclusive. But I got your point. I mean, what we'll do is we'll go away with a plan afterwards and capture everybody. So, Niti, did you want to put a comment in there?
Yeah, I agree to what Karen said. In addition, I think what's really important from a PR and marketing point of view is who is this accredited with? Who is going to give that recognition? Because if end of the day, I do all these qualifications and yes, we have people paying for it, whether it's Pagabo or others or, employers, what do they get out in terms of that credibility, in terms of that accreditation, recognition is really important. And from an employer's point of view, the thing that we've been talking about, that it is, we can use the apprenticeship levy from a CITB point of view or something else, then that again is a big thing, because then it looks like, okay, brilliant, I've got this 25k pot of apprenticeship levy sitting, I can use that to upskill my people and reskill my people and start training. So those are the really critical points, along with having that professional pathway of having visibility of what that looks like, and how do I get to that level 5, level 7, XYZ, and be able to demonstrate that experience and learning in the flow of work.
Yeah, okay. Right, okay. A couple of questions for you then, Niti, just to clarify a couple of things here. So who is it accredited with? Well, it's accredited with ProQual, who are a national awarding body, and they've put the qualification through Ofqual, which is the official awarding body for the United Kingdom, for the regulator, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
So I think from us, they're not accredited by Bill and Ben's newspaper shop. It's a proper sort of journey. The funding, we just need to understand where we are with that. I'm not so sure these will be covered by apprenticeship levy, unless I'm guided by Jan and Pam on that.
I think some of that will be dictated with when the funding gets populated, we'll see which funding streams are taking them on board. In terms of the levy, I would say, Pam, that they could be very much looked at as, because they're industry-led, because it's an industry requirement, they could be classed as an additionality and run alongside even the apprenticeship frameworks, and they might be included in levy spend.
Yeah,
I would have thought so.
Yes. Yeah, so I wouldn't rule it out, Gerard. I mean, I can't guarantee, but I think some of it's going to be how you present it, and I think that's going to be a real key point in the next stage, is how they are marketed, how they are presented, who they're appropriate for, and why, and who has asked for these qualifications in the first place. That's a real big one, especially for. We can see what's happening with this pandemic now, and I keep going back to this, but more and more people losing their jobs. Therefore, if we can get these accredited under certain funding streams that would be appropriate for the DWP, they will be sending people that are looking to upskill, reskill, retrain, moving into other alternative employment to they've maybe been in. Therefore, I think they'll be funded on that, because, and the industry are getting what they're wanting, because these are the skills you've identified as gaps in the first place. For example, if they've got somebody that comes in and they're willing to go and learn how to become a joiner or a bricklayer, for example, the industry is saying, that's okay, we've got existing qualifications to do that, but we're missing these soft skills. We need you to be able to do this, this, and this. Yeah. That's where these qualifications come in. So if we can get the funding attached to that, one of your biggest sectors, and I keep harping on about it, but honestly, it's going to be DWP for sure. Probably levels 1 to 3 more, obviously, than the higher levels.
Okay. Right. So I think that addresses your. I mean, that's great. That's good feedback, that, Niti, from Jan, I think so. So that's good. Okay, I've captured all of that. So
Yeah.
So sorry, Nita.
Yeah, so no, absolutely. I agree, Gerard, when you said that it's nationally recognized and qualified. But the thing is, it's the adoption. So we need the other institutes like CIOB or RICS or whichever relevant ones to say yes, they are, and we absolutely encourage people. It's not everything is out there, but if it's not being advertised, that's the whole point of advertising.
Exactly.
You need to reiterate and you need to highlight that it is being encouraged or supported by them. Then you kind of say, yeah, okay, that's what I want to do because it's accepted by all of these people. So absolutely. And given the current situation we are in, there's a lot of pressure on employers, especially more that will be for next year, equally for small businesses. So if we can get that funding and that recognition from the likes of CITB, then that would be a really, really big chunk of things.
Well, at the moment, you've got the Kickstart program that if you take some of these qualifications would be ideal for one of these young people on Kickstart to actually undertake whilst they're in the job. The other side, I would say, yes, we need it promoting, and Gerard, I presume you'll be doing quite a bit of that. But I think once we've done these first 18 or however many we do on this pilot programme, I think it will be the evaluation of those, both from the individuals, the learners' perspective, how they found them, but also from the organisations that have put forward these people. How have the skills that they've learned through these qualifications benefited you as the organisation who put the people forward? That then gets lobbied to the likes of IOB and et cetera, as this is why they benefit. So I think it's all part of possibly, Gerard, your roadmap.
Yeah. So I'm getting the feeling, and I sort of probably agree with this, is that we need to do the work, get these people going through it, answer some of the questions we're just talking about, produce our documentation, and maybe our PR isn't this is what we're doing. Maybe our PR is this is what we've done, or this is where we are now. So it's more it's towards the end of this phase of beta testing, so we can answer questions like, because we can survey the learners and the organizations. What did you get from it? Was it good? Was it bad? How did it work, etc. Why we've done it in the first place? Who asked for them? Why did we develop them in the future learner, the future workplace? This is also a response to the current climate and why that's important. The journey that the students been, all that stuff that everybody said so far. And if we've got all of that ready to go, we can then talk to CIOB, CITB, who are both involved in this. I've got relationships with both of those organisations. But if we present that to them as a more rounded conclusion, then we can get them to sort of say yes. And it's at that point we should probably do the, to amplify the PR. Is that what we're sort of saying?
I think it would be a good point to do it. Yeah.
It's a lot better to do it that way, because then it's a real thing. We've done it. We've got it prepared. It's a much better thing. So Ben, what do you think about that? So we start to collect all of this. So we're not hitting the market. We're collecting it. We're giving ourselves a really thorough piece of work on this, ready to do the PR later in the year, maybe even in the new year.
Yeah, I think that's an appropriate way forward, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's sensible to do it like that and gives us the best chance to push forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more things we need to think about, guys? I mean, I've got Karen and Nita's points there, which are extremely comprehensive, but is there anything else anybody would like to chip into that?
I quite like the idea of using everybody's individual social feed, and maybe doing, like you said, a journey anyway to collect all this information, but a coming soon kind of thing. This is what we're doing, written by the construction business or construction industry for the construction industry. These are this, like getting a bit of people talking about it before it gets to market, if that makes sense.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we just got to be that's a good point. So I think I'd want some advice from the marketeers in the organisation, that because obviously you only get one chance to make a first impression.
Yeah.
So you just, what we don't want to do is to shoot too early, or what, in that sense, and then get a load of questions we don't know the answers for.
Yeah.
But no, okay. So I'll put that into the notes, because I'm going to, Ben and I and Charlie will put together a plan on this, you see. So
that might be something we can potentially do with certain channels. I know obviously a lot of you guys, they'll be quite busy with lots of different content that you'll be pushing out. So I think Gerard's point about hitting people once might only be something that's possible with some of your marketing teams. So it would be better to do the big hit rather than the coming soon on those.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, Pagabo is slightly different because we sort of control that messaging. You know, some of your organisations will want to feature it in your overall thing, which is fine, because that's it. Keith?
I think there's a couple of things in my mind. I think in terms of any marketing of something like this, the best endorsement you're ever going to get is from somebody who's actually done that qualification and can demonstrate they've got something out of it. So that there potentially is an argument for holding off until you're 18 of been through it. But the other thing, and I got a little bit of feedback from our L&D people who are very, very busy at the moment, because we've just gone back into recruiting into what Graham called the Graham Academy, and you know, there was some doubt, I think, as to whether we'd actually do that this year. We've gone forward and we've gone. So the big question they raised as mainly was all the graduates and people we bring in and others. The big thing they want out of this is, if I do this, what does it get me? Because if it doesn't get me something at the end of it, so either a route or credits with a professional body or whatever, they're going to lean towards something that does. And we as an organisation would therefore lean towards something that did. So I think a key thing for us is getting these accredited. And I think once you've got that, that's another big thing you can push with the bodies that it's relevant to, be it ICE, IOB, RICS, etc. You know, otherwise they're going to have to do potentially 2 qualifications while still in full-time employment, and there's only a limit to what people will do.
Yeah. So the what's in it for me, and let's try and demonstrate the currency of this.
Yeah.
Gerard, I agree with Keith 100%. I'd kind of, it's like the usual question. I'd kind of start with the why. So why have we looked at doing this? And there was all of the gaps that people had been looking at when we started off on this journey, when we was talking about it. But the biggest thing is, as you've just put it, what's in it for the individual who's taking the course. Massive point. It won't be successful if we don't get that message across.
No, absolutely. And that's the marketing, and part of it is that engagement, which I know we've spoken about, Gerard, and
I think you're right. If we can get what I'm sort of feeling, well, let's get the rest of the comments, and then I'll. Does anybody else want to add anything to that? We've got some great. Diana.
I'm just wondering whether, if we do any kind of marketing, whether the question will be raised of how the course will be delivered. Like, do you have to travel anywhere? Will it be online? Who's going to give you the content? What is the content? And so that kind of how will you learn? We've got how you're going to be assessing the qualifications that you'll get, but we can't answer the question of exactly how it will be delivered.
So that's a fair point, and that'll be something I'm going to develop with ProQual when I get the assessment workbook sort of sorted. To be fair, I mean, you know, my first start is digital first, because that's where we are.
Well, COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't have people around.
Exactly, and digital. Now, I know that I'm going to have to develop some content. Some of it will be collating existing content around the internet and working with organisations and internal mentoring and stuff like that. But I want to create a course that is that basically addresses your point, Diana. So I'm aware of that, and I think that should be, again, that's one of the messages. What it is, how do you learn from it? Digital first, that sort of stuff. Yeah. Okay.
I think people are curious as well whether it's going to be like a virtual learning, as in here's a slide and click on these buttons, or whether it's going to be a person in front of you and they'll tell you how you need to look, like what you need to do, what you don't need to do. So that's the difference. Like I don't know whether companies buy into just online learning where you can do whenever you want and it's not, no one's talking to you and no one's presenting. or
think,
whether we need to consider that.
Yeah, I mean, once we've got the assessment workbook sorted, we're going to start to plot that elements of it out. And I think, I actually think part of this beta testing will actually answer some of those questions. You know, we're doing something. You know, we're doing something at the moment with Moodbeam, which we call a study. We're going to release some more Moodbeams into the market, and the whole idea about that is we're going to ask questions at the beginning, the middle, and the end. You know, did we do it right at the beginning? How do you feel halfway through? Are we doing it right? And at the end, how did you feel about it? Did we achieve what you wanted? And I think we might want to use a similar process, Diana, in this, because, you know, I don't think we'll get it right exactly first time. And unlike a lot of organisations, and I'm not being clear, but I'd like to think what our approach is. If we don't get it right, we'll tailor it and redo it. And I'm not so sure everybody else takes that approach. It's like one size fits all, and I'm not so sure that's
done it now. I'm not going back.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that's in our DNA. Certainly not in my DNA, and I don't think it's in the people who are on this call's DNA either. So. Okay.
One of the things I was thinking about is just thinking about like my own kids' experience in lockdown when everything's been through Google Classroom, and they haven't been having that face to face. Is more to do with, I think it probably needs to be a bit of a mixture of the kind of face to face and coursework. But the face to face sets the scene for the coursework. If you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I find the course.
To say, Gerard, even at this point, all these 18 or however many there are will meet through
face to face through a similar forum.
Will be taught through it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're teaching soft skills.
Yeah,
if it's going to be all on the computer, it's not soft skills.
Exactly.
That's probably the most valid point today, actually, Dana.
Yeah.
You know, all these soft skills. Press A, B, C, or D.
It definitely won't be that.
Yeah. So
I mean, from our point of view, we've rolled out quite a number of in-house sort of online training courses, so various things from cybersecurity to mental well-being and things. And I think the ones where you've got a bit of interaction and a bit of talk seem to go down far better, and the uptake's better than just the PowerPoint where you click on A, then you move on to the next slide, and then you move on to the next slide, then you get a multiple choice question. I think it needs to be more interactive than that.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think look, I'm with you on that, and we just got to develop the course material effectively. And you know, once we see what the assessment workbook's like, then Jan and I and Pam and Charlie and Ben and maybe others need to come up and try and turn it from, if it's one dimensional, into 2 or 3 or 4 dimensions. That's what we've got to try and do, isn't it? And do that. Neeti, did you have a point?
Yeah, while we do that, what I also am keen that we keep in mind is the way people learn. So make sure we have different ways of learning. So hands-on, audio, video, you know, repetition. So we cater to different learning styles because that's really, really key.
They will get that as an induction. They will get that as an induction.
What's your learning style, Neeti?
Hands-on.
So you're kinesthetic then, eh?
I am very much by doing, writing. I have to get my hands involved.
Yeah. So I'm very much like that. It's like these people who can see a 2D plan and work out what the building looks like. I don't get it myself. I mean, there's quite a few guys in here who can, but I unless I see a 3D render, I've got no idea what's in the room. But you know, I need to be in there touching it and that. So there you go.
You are a finance person though, Gerard. So there you go.
Excel spreadsheet and nothing else.
Numbers.
Dear me. I bet you I'm the least accountant you know, Steph.
Well, possibly.
There you go. Okay, Diana.
Yeah, just wondering whether once we do develop the content, rather than making Pagabo responsible for all of it, if there is topics that one of our companies has a member that's good at it, then that member could mentor that kind of lesson or that session so that we can split the responsibility between ourselves.
That'd be great. And you know, and I think that's so. I think once I've seen the assessment workbooks, what we might want to do is to break off into some smaller groups and look at them and do that. If you're prepared to do that, I was going to actually ask Steve, because I know I do know a little bit about Steve's training system at SRM actually, because I know the kid who does it, Momentum Learning, Ed Steeds and that, because he does NEC learning with Stuart Kings. So,
Yes.
so I do know a bit about that. So, but I mean, everybody on this call, all of you have got fantastic learning and development teams. You've got all this in place. So, you know, this is, you know, we are going to deliver this collectively. So I think your point is very valid. So I think we might break off into some sort of groups to achieve that. But until I see the assessment workbooks, I might want to just have a look at that first, just to put some ideas out there. Okay. This is great, actually. Have we got any more points? Any more? By the way, if you've got any other points later, you can include them. It's not a one-off go you get. Ben, can you post that link to Karen again? She's just on the chat there.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. So we'll cover that in an email afterwards as well, Karen, as well. So I think we'll do that anyway. So that's great. Okay, that to me then so. I won't summarise everything on there. What I will summarise is the fact that we're going to prepare the marketing before we actually tell anybody. And that's better because we'll have learned a lot more about what we're doing. We'll have worked up the right messaging. We'll be in a better position. We'll be very strong on what's going on, and then we'll be in a strong proposition to go to some of the chartered institutes to talk to them about it. We'll know where we are with the funding, and then when we do launch it, you know, it'll be a solid, strong message rather than a load of Q&A that we don't know the answers for. So I think that's the message I've got, and that's probably what I thought would be the right route as well. Okay.
Gerard. Jan made a point about the Kickstart program. I do think that an initial conversation could be quite relevant now because they're looking at their cohorts bidding for 30 people at a time from November 2020, with December 21 being their last sort of route in, with the programme finishing in 2022, and they've got 2 billion of government spend to use as part of this DWP Kickstart. So I think a route in to just say, could that be complementary before maybe they even got into the organisation, because they're going to have mentors.
Look, I think that's a great point. So do we have a view on how we can achieve that, Karen? Do you have a link in with DW?
I had a meeting only initially just about what is the programme, but I just wondered in terms of, you know, strategic, if you were to talk about your course, I think that you could offer some of those to young people. It has to be they're not in education and they're not in a job, so the NEET kind of community.
Yeah.
But maybe some of those before could be a good position with for these kind of softer key skills. I think that's a really good point.
So how about, so what you're sort of saying is, Mr. Government, Mr. DWP, you know, when we're a bit further on, we develop the course materials. We've got a message, you know, a strong message. Say, look, Mr. DWP, we've got some qualifications here, which we think would be great for people, you know, softer skills, the future, the setting the scene for the future in our sector, in the construction sector. Why don't you, you know, make these available to people who are interested in coming into construction, you know, who are possibly NEETs. You know, and we as a sector will support those individuals, blah, blah, blah. Is that the sort of thing you're saying?
Yeah, but yes, because those persons will be coming in from a variety of backgrounds into the construction industry through the DWP, and you either bid for those persons in advance or you work with an intermediary who's bid for those persons. So I think that's a really good way of building up skills before they even come into the industry. Yeah. So you might be able to catch them with your marketing meeting before that point.
Yeah. So I know from my own experience as a governor of Hull College, they're working now to try and get hold of some of this funding. So that is the sort of thing I can probably talk to them about. And I think, I mean, you've got some links, Karen, haven't you, with some schools and some colleges as well? So
DWP though, rather than the school, you'd have to back to WP, I think.
So I'll tell you what I might do then is I'll speak to our chairman, our non-exec chairman, Mr. Kersley, or sorry, Lord Kersley, should I get it right? Well, Bob Kersley, I'm wondering if he might be able to help us get into somebody at DWP then.
I think that's I think that's a really good target place to go to. I really do.
And what we could do then, if I can tee up a meeting, what I might want to do is, I don't think we want everybody there. I might want a couple of us to speak to the people at DWP then. You know, obviously, you know, Gerard Toppers from the framework provider is one person, but if we had 2 or 3 other people, big construction, big professional services, awarding body on the call as well, that would give us, throw a bit more weight at it.
Yeah, you need to get Serco on board, I suspect, because they're completely outsourced to Serco now, including capital delivery.
Right, okay. Okay. Does anybody have a relationship with Serco?
The massive, mate. There are words trying to link it.
Yeah. So I think Michael. I think the connection is. I'll start with Bob Kerslake. I think Bob.
Yeah, Bob should know. Yeah,
Bob
with his you know, when he was kind of doing the civil service, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Well, he was permanent secretary, wasn't he? He was the head of the civil service actually for 5 years. Right. Okay. No, that's. I think that's it. We can start that work now, Karen. We don't need to wait until we've done the marketing materials. We can just say, look, this is what we're doing. So I think we can run them together, can't we? They're parallel activities. So, okay, no, that's good. All right. Okay, anything else? I mean, it's been a great session so far. I hope everybody's happy with the way it's going so far.
Yeah.
So that's probably it on my agenda. The only other thing I had on my agenda we've covered really, which was when do we talk to other organisations? Because we sort of talked with. You know, toss that around a bit in the past couple of meetings. But I think we've got a clear plan now. We need to get the 18 going. We've got the qualifications, we've got the training centre going. Let's get the 18. Let's get them organised. Let's get the content organised, and let's start parallel. Get the marketing and start the messaging so we're ready to go when we're towards the end of this first pilot. And then at the same time, which is Michael's raised the point and it's valid. What does it look like after this? You know, once we've got this accepted, what does it look like afterwards in money, funding, and what have you? Okay. Right. Yeah. Anybody else got any other points, questions? Oh, Diana. Yeah. Was that a hand?
Yes. I guess my only other point is whether we are doing enough. Because when we started this, we spoke about getting more talent into the industry and whether we're doing enough to bring people in. At the moment, we're doing enough to develop people who are already in the industry. But do we need to look at the other angle of how we're going to bring?
I think Kickstart will probably attract people outside the industry because it's designed on that sort of basis. So they are not in work, are they? I mean, is Kickstart exclusively NEETs? Is it? I can't remember exactly what it's for, but it's pretty. It is people out
not in education, not in work, and they have to be on some sort of
benefit.
Credit, universal credit.
Yeah, okay. So they're certainly not in the industry. So I think Diana's point is valid, and probably what I don't intend to stop this group, Diana, and just say that's it, finished now. Let's move on to someone else. I think if we can get this into the marketplace and get it done, and we're real happy with it, then I think the journey continues in the same way you're saying. So this doesn't have a it has a stop-off point, not a destination, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, good.
That's probably what I would say. So, this should only stop when everybody's qualified or we get bored. And I don't think we're either of them at the moment, but unless somebody tells me otherwise. Okay, so unless anybody's got any other points, we've got quite a lot of work to do there, and we will be reaching out. Sean had to go off the Wi-Fi because his Wi-Fi crashed, but he's texted me to say he's excited and wants to get involved in your point, Diana, which is let's get the companies around this round table or Zoom table helping. So I think that'll be a really good, because individually we can achieve lots of things. Collectively we can achieve everything, can't we? That's what we want to say. Okay, any other points? The only other thing then really is the next session, because we want to keep the momentum. So let's have a look at that. So I think how long, Ben and Charlie, do we think we need to get some momentum into the things we're talking about? and Jan really, because I'll be working with your team, won't I, Jan?
Yeah.
So how do we think a month?
I think in a month we will have made a start.
Yeah, one second. There's somebody at my gate. So I'll just go and let them in. Hang on.
Gate. He doesn't even have a door. At my palace.
We've obviously got past the gatehouse. And
security.
The butler is just not there to answer the door today.
That's a delivery for somebody.
It must
We
be
were just
Amazon
speculating
Prime
whether you'd
Day
have to-
shopping.
Sorry about that, everybody. Just one of my kids, one of my youngest is actually at home, but she's a student, so it's only 12:31. So you can imagine where she is going.
Yeah.
So that's the dog. Help you guys. We should do that, shouldn't we? We should have whenever you have a meeting, you say we're all working from home. You might hear dogs in the background or babies. I was on a call last week, which is quite amusing actually. Somebody was speaking, just like I'm speaking here, and they were next to a window, and the window cleaner was just walking past like that, cleaning the window. it was very funny. But I might have to go just in a second because he'll need to just talk amongst yourselves. I'll just need to let him back out the gate. So apologies for this.
He's obviously had to let the staff go.
This COVID is affecting us all.
We're on the way to be furloughed.
So you were saying, Jan, about you can make a start in a month.
No, I think we'll have started within a.
Right, okay.
It's actually some.
That we've got. We'll have had to, Ben.
It's actually some flowers for my wife, which she gets me to order for her. So, and there you go.
What have you done now?
I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything. Just making sure that you can get out of. Oh, you've gone yet. That's fine. No, she likes. Oh, well, boy, she always used to forget, so she sort of orders them herself now. That's not very good, is it? That? No. So there you go. Right. So date. So I was just thinking, there's a couple of things really. One is we need to. I think we should get a date in sort of 3 or 4 weeks' time. But we might want I might want a couple of other sessions, because I think once we've got these assessment workbooks, Jan, I'll speak to you afterwards. We were going to have a bit of a session afterwards. But
yes.
I wanted to put some time in the diary where we all get together and start to look at that. And that. So it might be that we have some offline meetings with people, but as a group, let's put a date in the diary for probably 4 weeks, at least 4 weeks' time. Okay. So did anybody come up with some dates or?
No.
Around about the 12th of November, then, if we stick to Thursdays, which seem to be quite popular with us all.
Yeah. So 12th of November. Yeah, that works fine with me. I've got something at 9 till 11, 9 till 10, but apart from
I've
that,
got something 10 till 11, Gerard, that day. Otherwise, it's free.
Okay. So do you want to do 11:30 till 12:30 again?
Works for me.
Yeah. Works for me.
Yeah.
Do we get update in between just to let us know whether you found all the 18 candidates or not?
Yeah. So okay, that's a fair point. So Charlie, can we just make a note to send an update, possibly if we look at, say, the 30th of October, right, which says we are still X number of candidates missing or not.
Yeah. Oh, stop sending us names. There's too many now.
Yeah. Look, as I said before, that if it goes over a bit, I'm not fussed. I mean, if it turns out you've got 811, I'll have a bit of a problem, because that's more than I've budgeted.
I tell you what, Gary will have a bit more of a problem as well.
Yeah, he will do. Yeah. So, but yeah. So let's put a note out on the 30th then, as Diana said, just to give us a bit of an update. But if we go for that date, that'll be fine then. Okay. Right then. So is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
That's great. I thought that was a good session, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think that was really good. That. So okay. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll come to the border, Keith, and just throw things over at you.
Well, we won't let you across it, mate.
I'd love to see somebody just jumping in and out over the border or not. But it's. Well, actually, no, I'm okay. I'm in a low risk area.
Yeah, that'll change.
Not for long.
Interesting dynamic now, because in theory, if I go to our head office in Northern Ireland, because I don't have to go, I could do it like this. But if I chose to go to our head office in Northern Ireland, they wouldn't let me back in. I'm staying, as you know, I'm staying over and have been for most of the last month. I'm over on the West Wales coast at the moment, so not in a lockdown county.
Yeah.
But yesterday morning, I went into the nearest town and got stopped by the police, whose ANPR had picked up that my car was registered in Flintshire. So I had to demonstrate and prove to them that I was actually living down here and had been living here a significant period of time before they locked Flintshire down.
So they're actually checking. They're actually doing their jobs.
One off. Right, I got to hang up. So bye, everyone. Thanks for the meeting today. Take care. Bye.
I think whilst I get them doing the jobs, Keith, the bit I just feel that does feel like that's not the society we are.
No, North Wales police are particularly aggressive in their policing of it. And again, the anti in West Wales, it's not even anti-English sentiment; it's anti anybody who doesn't live in Gwynedd, Ceredigion, or Pembrokeshire sentiment.
Oh, yeah, it's very insular then.
Yeah, you're if you come from Flintshire, you might as well have come from the middle of Liverpool, as far as they're concerned.
Cool, isn't it?
So it is driving a lot of resentment again.
Yeah, I think when this is over, because it will be over, there'll be a lot of wounds that need healing, I think.
Yeah, there will.
Particularly
with rural Wales.
Yes. So, because it's a shame, really, because Wales is such a beautiful country.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
If you like walking, cycling, golfing, and so it's absolutely beautiful.
It's a real shame, but I think it'll get worse before it gets better, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I saw a map of the graph of the pandemic in 1918. It went wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and then it pretty much disappeared after. So why anybody thinks is a bit surprised about wave 2 is beyond me, because it's been in the history books for 100 years. So anyway, we'll see. Right, anyway, let's focus on training people rather than worried about that stuff we can't control. Fortunately, at least we're all in the construction sector. Imagine if we were running a load of pubs.
Yeah, that's the real difficulty over here. The pubs rely on, there is a local trade, but heavily, their money's made in the summer months, or between spring and autumn.
There'll be a lot of people who are, going almost having to hibernate, aren't they, between now and next summer?
It's difficult.
It is difficult, but okay. Well, stay safe, and hopefully, Keith, everything's will be okay in the end when we see an end.
I have no doubt it will be. But can you imagine? We're able to keep normality. You mentioned, what went on in 1918 in the aftermath of a world war, and then ran for 2 or 3 years. Everybody managed to keep going then and run their businesses and avoid complete meltdown without the ability to even do what we're doing.
Yeah, it's interesting because they didn't have lockdowns then, did they?
That's my landline.
Yeah, okay. It's funny because they didn't have lockdowns then. They had masks. I mean, I don't think, unless you studied history, you probably wouldn't have seen people in 1918 wearing masks. But there was a lot of, particularly in America, that were wearing masks. But they didn't have any lockdowns. And as Keith has said, they didn't. The other thing as well is back then you only got the numbers of who died if you went to the local shop and picked up a newspaper.
Yeah.
Look, I'm also not sure if this had happened 30 years ago would be in the same place.
Social media.
Yeah, I think
advantages of social media.
Social media. Yeah.
If it wasn't on the news, it wouldn't be the news.
No.
I
I
mean,
mean, go to lockdown back in the day because they'll just have to send you a letter saying stay at home.
yeah, correct. And you know, I was trying to explain to my kids about two things really. One, they all think terrorism's a new thing. Well, I remember the 80s with the IRA, and you couldn't go anywhere near a white van because you were a bit worried about it. And we had AIDS and all that in the 80s, and nobody understood that. I mean, you know, it's not a new thing, this, and you know, we still had a life and whatever. But anyway, it's I just, you know, I would not want to be in the hospitality sector directly. I think that would be quite tough at the moment.
Yeah,
but you know, we just got to. At the end of the day, we have to focus on what we can control, which is our own businesses and our own destiny at the moment, don't we? So that's what we've got to be strong at. So, okay, all right. So I would bid you all farewell, but I'm going to stay on with Jan and Pam and Charlie and Ben probably.
Yeah, I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Just to do that. So nice to see everybody again. Look after Wales for us, Keith. And I'll see you soon, Steph. We need to have that game of golf at some point, Steph. Bloody hell. And I'll see you down. See everybody.
See you guys. Bye.
And I'm just going to eat my biscuit here, Pam
That's
and
all right.
Charlie.